So please give a hand for Dirk.
Well, yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for having me here. It's a great honor and great pleasure. And yes, as you said so nicely in the introduction, I've been online since 1985, and I want to take you back for a moment to that year, 1985. I don't know if anybody of you remembers what this is. This is a telephone, a landline telephone. It was attached to the wall via a cord, and we had one per household, and it could only be used by one person. So if my brother was on the phone, nobody else could have a phone call at that time. Impossible for today. And it was expensive as hell. So we paid up to 32 cents per minute for a landline call that was farther than 200 kilometers inside Germany. And that happened a lot when I discovered that I could go online, which was eventually in 1985, with a thing called a Datenklo. Roughly translates into a data toilet. It's because of these thingies here who are taken off a sanitary installation. And this one had the amazing speed of roughly 300 baud, which roughly translates into 300 bits per second. So taking the 12 Hours Us homepage, which has a weight of 5.6 megabyte, in 1985 it would have taken 48.5 hours to load only the starting page, and it would have cost me 796 euros to load the homepage of 12 Hours Us. Today I'm sitting behind a line that is a cable line, which has the amazing 1.6 million times speed than back in 1985. So this is what I talk about when I mean exponential technology development. And exponentially, Hemingway once stated it very nicely: how did you go bankrupt? Gradually, and then suddenly. And this is exactly what's happening, and we have a couple of exponential developings happening around us. And the first is the explosion of data. I'm not sure if you're aware that roughly 90% of all data that has ever been produced has been produced in the last 2 years alone. 90% last 2 years. That's exponential development. Computing power. We all know probably about Moore's law, that roughly every 18 months the computing power doubles while the price gets to halve, right? This is of course coming to an end physically, but the next generation of computing power is already starting. It's quantum computing. And this will be another exponential development. It already is. We have come from 2 qubits for the first quantum computers to already 156 qubits in the most modern ones. And it's, again, developing exponentially. And then we have the development of algorithms, right? So we had several AI winters, and we have been talking about AI a lot today. But basically, with the newest developments in machine learning, and deep learning, and neural networks, this is another exponential development that's happening around us, and it's taking our future faster and faster out of our hands. Talking about that, let's have a look at the battle between man and machine, between humans and computers. Back in 2011, there was an outrageous cry because for the first time ever, an AI, an IBM Watson machine, won Jeopardy. And by far, not by a small amount, it really nimbled and minimized its human opponents. 5 years later, something that was deemed impossible happened. An AI called Alphago was able to defeat one of the best Go players in the world. And Go is so far a pretty special game because the number of possible positions on the Go board exceeds the number of atoms in the universe. And everybody was thinking, okay, you cannot have a machine trained to learn that because you need something that is called human intuition to win at Go. Alphago won 4-1 against Lee Sedol. And then 1 year later, another magically thing happened. Libratos went away with more than $3 million in prizes from a Las Vegas poker tournament. And poker has an element that is exclusively human. Bluffing. The machine was lying to us. Right? So this was another development where we have to say what machines do, they can do better than humans. And this has become a serious issue when we look at, for example, our job descriptions and our job situation. Cashiers have become obsolete already at Amazon Go stores. There are no more cashiers needed because you just have an app, you check in, you walk in, you take whatever you want, you walk out, and you're automatically billed. So the cashier is taken out of the equation of offline shopping. Trackless will be one of the next professions that will have become obsolete. This is an actual prototype from Volvo, a truckless driverless truck, not a truckless driver. By the way, that would probably solve a lot of the climate problems if we had truckless drivers, or driverless trucks. And marketeers. It's not even 2 years ago when Zalando released 250 people from their marketing department because the machines could do it better and quicker. Yeah? So even our white-collar jobs are being eliminated by AI. And take this one step further, when we have to see where the development goes when it comes to the development of AI, is that we have come from descriptive AI, which was answering the question, what happened here, through predictive AI, what will happen next, to something that I call prescriptive AI. That will happen, because I tell you so, right? So this is the human purchase funnel as we all know it. We have learned it probably in university. We have awareness, consideration, purchase, loyalty, and advocacy. Now take the consumer out of the equation. What happens then? Then you have a flipped around purchase funnel that doesn't necessarily need the consumer anymore. Because you start with a demand that is calculated by an algorithm. The algorithm knows when you need something and what you need next. And it will then simply deliver the goods to your home without you ordering these goods. Jeff Bezos from Amazon is already talking about that. So this is not really science fiction. This is just a question of years or months until it will happen. Then, finally, you consider, oh, will I keep it or will I send it back? And then you confirm the purchase and finally give some feedback. So you rate the product that you have. So what I want to see here right now in this room is panic. Really. Because this is a tremendous change to our job descriptions, to my job description. Originally, for my professional career, I come out of advertising. So my job was to convince people to buy something that they didn't want to, in the first instance, right? And in the future, I have to convince somebody who's totally different from that. I have to adjust my own job description to the new situation. And I have to do it radically. It's not that we can just take little baby steps. We cannot do linear steps. 30 linear steps take us 30 feet apart. 30 exponential steps take us 26 times around the planet. And this is what we have to do. We have to develop exponentially, right? Because you don't build a light bulb by developing better candles. You really have to leapfrog the development, and you have to do jumps, not steps anymore. So what we have to do, what we have to learn as marketers, is marketing to machines. We're not addressing the human anymore exclusively, but we're addressing algorithms. We're partly doing this already. Look at search engine optimization. You're not optimizing for a human there. You're optimizing for an algorithm. Look at the optimization that you do to your product detail pages at Amazon. It's not only optimizing for the people in front of the computer, but it's optimizing for the Amazon algorithm that finally decides where you will be shown on place 1, place 2, place 3, or where you will not be found, right? It's still true, the best place to hide a dead body is page number 2 of search results. So, and we have to target new target groups, like smart assistants, like algorithms. And these are the things that we have to learn, the success factors of the future. First of all is the performance of your product. How many people keep your product after you have sent it to them? How many send it back? What's the conversion rate? What's the click-through rate? So it's all about the performance. That has a high influence on the algorithm and where your product will be shown and if it will be shown. Second is pricing. Pricing not as we thought about it before, when we thought, okay, let's make it cheaper so more people buy it, but let's make it more expensive because the algorithm favors that because the margin for the retailer is higher. Right? So this is another form of new thinking that we have to apply when we want to understand the algorithm. And of course, then there's content. The content has to be machine readable, it has to be optimized for machines, and most probably it will be optimized by machines as well. And finally, there's feedback. Ratings and reviews will be one of the most valuable currencies of the future. As of today, even a bad rating and review is better than no rating and review. People heavily rely, when they come to the consideration part later in the purchase funnel, to the question, will I keep it or not? Well, let's have a look what other people are saying about this. So, after all, what we have to do is something that we have been doing before, but we have to do it more and we have to do it better. And that is concentrate on one single simple thing. And that is the consumer experience, right? Because from the delivery to the unboxing to the first usage, the experience that the consumer will have with our products in the future will determine whether we will have a future at all or not, and whether we will succeed marketing to machines. Thanks a lot.
12 seconds left. Any questions? You have 6 minutes.
Do you see any chance that we can stop that?
No. To be really crisp and sharp, no, I don't see a chance that we can stop that. We can only adapt to that, and we have to adapt to that. Because the overall development is already running, and Amazon is only the front runner. There are a lot of competitors keeping up with that. Just look at the Chinese market, where you have these juggernauts like Alibaba, Tencent, and companies like that, who are gathering data of 1.4 billion consumers and optimizing their algorithms to that data. Yeah? And as soon as we have more data, we have better algorithms, and then the algorithms are better able to sell us what we want and what we need. So I don't see that we have any chance to prevent that from happening.
Hi, Fabian.
Hi.
Thanks. Really interesting topic, I guess. And it's so my question is, all of these algorithms you talk about are owned by just a few huge platforms. So what is Amazon's? Let's say Amazon, because I think they're the most they are the most far ahead by now with Alexa and shopping and integration into the consumer purchase funnel. What is there? Why should they be interested in marketing Beiersdorf products at all? If they you're not having contact with the consumer anymore. Yep. Alexa is having that contact and it's delivering some kind of treatment for skin.
Yeah.
Why should they what is the function of a brand at all in this kind of future that is AI as intermediaries between platforms and the customers, and you're just somewhere out there? Will you maybe just put it in a black box and Amazon is printing Amazon Basics skin treatment on it?
Hopefully not. But excellent question, thanks for that. We have been asking the same question to ourselves, repeatedly, and we're still asking ourselves these questions. How can you as a brand stay relevant in the future? One answer is that you have to develop your own direct-to-consumer relationships. That's one part of the game, and this is what we're heavily trying right now. So direct-to-consumer business is growing for all the industry partners, not only our company, but all competitors or other industries as well. That is one thing. The second thing is, a brand always stands for something that people still rely on, that is trust. Yeah, and if we can keep the trust then most probably the algorithm will pay some attention to that trust that is given by the consumer to the brand because he keeps the brand. And third is, of course, branding itself. Look at when you order something, a lipstick, a fat lipstick. You wouldn't do that. You would order a labello, which happens to be one of our brands. But you do this. You would buy Tesafilm and not some gluing strip or something like that. So branding becomes more important in the future because people will still, especially when it comes to voice assistants, for example, they will ask for brands. And when they receive products, they will look for the brand that offers the biggest value. Of course, this does not apply to commodities. When you produce commodities, you're most probably screwed.
Time for another question?
So you just said that you basically want to make the brand and the direct connection to the customer more relevant.
Yeah.
So are you then still marketing to an algorithm, or are you actually trying to circumvent marketing to an algorithm?
Both.
And the second thing is, if I understood you correctly, so the brand itself should or will in the future or already be a part of or considered in the algorithm of those pages, I guess. How do you think, what would be relevant approaches or relevant data to be included in that?
Okay, to answer the first question, of course we are going multiple routes. So we are on one hand trying to develop the one-on-one relationships, on the other hand we're trying to market to machines and to better understand the algorithm. Answering your second question, what data goes into the development of brands in the future, it's basically the feedback data that I was talking about. So we are using the one-on-one relationship with the consumer to get more data about his needs, his wishes, his demands, his dislikes as well, and of course weave that into the product and weave that into the overall brand appearance. So this is, for example, why we are still focusing so much on communication, right? Because we need this interaction with the consumer to gather the data that we will then feed into the algorithm, and the algorithm will respond to that by favoring our brands, which is done right now.
So you're basically not trying to market to the algorithm, but rather indirectly change or model the algorithm.
Use the algorithm, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that actually was the answer to my question.
Okay.
So I can stop it by giving you feedback. So I stop giving you feedback.
You
and
as a
then
consumer,
you cannot.
yeah. You as a consumer have it in your hands. Yeah?
Yeah.
When you focus on brands, for example, when you focus on things that you keep because you like the quality, you are still major of the game.
Very good. Thank you. Right on time. Interesting.